And I'm a really firm believer in you can achieve anything you set your mind to. So today's live hopefully is going to help you set your mind to whatever it is you would like to achieve, and give some actionable tips out of that as well. So a big thing that generally happens when we, start a challenge, for example, or we have a goal in mind that we do want to reach. And one of them I'm talking to today is going to be about weight loss or achieving specific body composition. So this is timely with our current challenge. So we're currently running a 28-day challenge, which ends at the end of this month. And one of the things that does often come up, especially as you get, halfway through, because the first week we're all super motivated, we're all like super excited to see what can happen, and we do apply that extra bit of attention to staying adherent to the eating plan or making sure, it's a new program, it's exciting. So this basically is that prerequisite to make sure that if you do start to feel unmotivated, or if you do start to lag, or if something comes up that makes, creates a little bit of resistance to your current plan, then we have those tools in place to make sure that we can still follow through. So one of the things that, like, if you have a big goal ahead of you, one of the things that generally is going to happen, and it's inevitable, there's going to be discomfort along the way. So a really good mindset shift around this particular, I suppose, hurdle coming up is going to be changing the mindset of discomfort now, like choose your discomfort or discomfort later. So choosing your discomfort means, okay, I signed up to a challenge. I signed up to a 28-day challenge because there was something that was so uncomfortable for me. I no longer wanted to feel X, Y, Z. I no longer wanted to take half an hour to find a pair of shorts that fit me correctly. I no longer wanted to second guess myself every time I put on my bathers. I no longer wanted to feel, self-conscious every time I went to a party. Whatever it was, whatever has, led you to take that leap to make a change, let's just revisit what that discomfort was that actually got you into the situation that you're in. And let's just, rule it up. A little bit of discomfort now to never feel that discomfort again. That's the motivation. That's the mindset we've got to tap into. So just to give like another example, the discomfort of always having to go to the very back of the rack when going clothing shopping, that was like a feeling of, for whatever reason, I actually assigned my self-worth to the number on my tag. So always having, as a kid, always having to go to the adult section and to the back of the rack, because I'd obviously outgrown the kids' back of the rack. That to me was enough discomfort for me to, go, hang on, something's got to change. I've got to do something. I've got to take responsibility, or I can continue to live in this discomfort. So you make a change and you go through a little bit of discomfort, different type, to make a change and not have to feel that again. And it is really exhilarating to then be able to change that shopping experience to a more positive one. So that would be my solution around, or my advice around, if you're feeling any current discomfort through a challenge, or growing pains through learning a new skill, or learning how to do a squat, a deadlift, a back squat, whatever the case may be, let's just tap into that discomfort for what is going to eventually bring you so much more comfort than where you were. So we do have to push through just a little bit of resistance. Another one as well is, like, sometimes what happens is when we're through a challenge, or we're going through something new, or we set a big scary goal and then we get a little bit scared, is, we tend to like go, oh, I can't have that schnitzel and beer with my friends on Friday night. I've got to have this because I'm on a challenge. Well, hey, nobody held a gun to your head to say, you have to do this challenge or I'm going to pull the trigger, right? So just remember as well that you are here for a choice. It is not a chore to be a part of the challenge or to better yourself. It shouldn't feel like a chore. So let's change that. Hey, this is a choice that I've made for myself to better myself. And whenever you feel, or whenever somebody, you know, and this will happen a lot, like somebody will try and tempt you. They'll say, oh, just have a little bit. Oh, just have one beer. And then that turns into 6. Oh, just do the, you know, you're at the, you know, a football or netball function, which is very common at this time of year. And somebody's like, oh, why aren't you drinking? Just drink. And it definitely happens. There's always going to be that peer pressure around. You've got to just go, no, this is my choice. It's only 28 days. I'm going to make sure I commit to this. So at the end of the 28 days, I'm not regretting putting myself through this time for nothing. All right? Because we definitely really want to make sure that you are getting to the stage where you are feeling confident, comfortable, and happy. So that can be another sort of mindset shift. If you're somebody on a weight loss journey, or on a strength journey, or currently in the 28-day challenge, just shifting it away from it being a chore to it actually being a choice. It is a choice to better your health. And like, what a privileged choice that is, that we actually have here in Australia in the current environment. So the other little tip that I would like to give as a bit of a mindset shift, or something just to remind you why you're here, why you're making sacrifices. I don't know what is going on with this like bloody tree branch, but anyway, why you're making these sacrifices to your current lifestyle. You know, what was it that made you jump into this new lifestyle to begin with? And sometimes that may not align with your current lifestyle. So let's identify what was the pain point that made you go, no, I've got to do this. I've got to do this for myself. And then let's bring that back to how we can make that commitment to yourself. And then just giving yourself that little bit of appreciation that, hey, this is only 28 days. Let's commit to myself here. My friends can have me on day 30, or I can enjoy some more flexibility on day 31, right? And then we can draw it back and implement everything that we've learned. So some other ways that we can stay on track, keep that motivational mindset in fine form, but also absolutely bulletproof ourselves so that when hurdles come up, we can shake them off, or we can just completely clear them without stumbling, right? Is one thing that really works well, especially when you are in a current like transitional stage, which a lot of people are, when you are taking on your own health and fitness journey, sometimes it can feel a bit lonely, which is why I've created this space for women to come and be a part of during their transition or transformation. Because especially depending on, you know, your friendship circle, the network that you're hanging out with, if they're not in this phase of life, if they are not, you know, on this journey with you, then it does feel quite lonely. It can feel like something you can't explain. So let's just bring it back. And I actually spoke with a member this morning who mentioned she does sit down, she writes in her journal, you know, how she felt about the day. And then you could reflect on how adherent you were to your eating plan. Maybe you could look at a few triggers for you that if you weren't adherent, if you did veer off track, if you did go and have, you know, that extra drink or vice versa, whatever it is, then we can actually go, okay, well, what happened in this day that may have triggered me to do that? What led me to sit down and binge eat on the couch that night? And then that's where, as soon as you identify what that trigger can be, that's when you can put other tools into place. Because unless you do pick up on what is going to bring you back a peg, you're not going to be able to move forward, because you're going to continue to stumble over the same hurdles. So using a bit of a gratitude journal can be really helpful, or just using a journal in general to just go down, jot down, you know, you might even just score your day 0 to 5. Like, did I drink enough water today? 0 to 5. Did I move enough today? 0 to 5. Did I stick to my eating plan today? 0 to 5. Or Did I make sure that I got a good mix of meals, nutrients, carbs, fats, protein, micronutrients in my meal today? Do I feel like I had enough rest last night? And then you can just look at that and go, okay, well, what was my score? If the score was down to the lower end, then of course you can pick out on what things you want to work on for the next day. If you're acing one thing, let's just continue that. And then if you can actually just appreciate that, hey, I have made effort today. I have moved. And then sometimes all that you need is that reminder to say you are doing well. You are moving in the right direction. If you would like some resources on how to start journaling or a gratitude worksheet, we actually do have that as well. So please comment below and I'll be sure to send that over to you. But another how-to that I'm going to wrap this video up with is basically, if you are somebody who you feel the same habit keeps coming up or the same hurdle keeps stopping you in your tracks, then like I said, let's identify that. But what we want to do is then pause. We want to look at breaking the pattern, because generally habits have been created over time. They're not something that we just build overnight. So it's not something that we can just break overnight either. If you have a poor habit of overindulging on desserts or wine or whatever after dinner when the kids go to bed, or when you're out on the weekend with your friends, then what we want to do is look at that habit that's less empowering, that's not serving our goals, it's not leading us in the direction where we want to be. We've got to break the pattern. So as an example, if you are somebody who gets to Friday night and your friends message and it's like, let's do this, let's do that, and we end up getting, drinking too much over the weekend, and we know that's not aiming towards our goals, we wind up feeling unsatisfied, not worthy on Sunday, because we say we want something but we act in another way. And it's very, very common, and I was guilty of it for years. So what you want to do in that situation is, hey guys, I'm actually not feeling up to drinking or going out this weekend. Do you guys want to catch up for breakfast instead? You still get that catch up. You still get to enjoy the friendly company, but it comes without the hangover, probably cheaper because you're not going to be spending as much on drinks. But you'll also be able to get up that morning plus the next morning and do something that's going to take you to where you want to be. So that would be my suggestion in how to break that habit. And you don't have to do it all the time, but it's just like anything, like that muscle that you keep working and flexing. The more you train it, the easier it will be, the better, the stronger it will get. And another one is, and this one comes up a lot as well, you get to the end of the day, you're at the end of your tether, the kids have just gone down, you haven't had a proper meal for yourself all day, especially as a mum, and you sit down on the couch and you end up just having like cheese, dip, biscuits and wine, and it turns into like your own little, binge out sesh because that's your you time. Absolutely fine. Let's change that you time. Let's have a nutritious meal with the kids. Let's enjoy that. But then when we, instead of, sitting on the couch with wine and cheese and chocolate and lollies and chips and everything else like that, then maybe we can look at having just one popsicle of a low-fat frozen yogurt, or enjoying a cup of tea and one biscuit or one Freddo Frog, and sitting down and just enjoying that, and having a conversation with your partner, or reading a book, breaking the pattern of sitting on the couch and eating, watching TV. Because sometimes what happens is we're watching TV and we actually connect that habit with eating chocolate or drinking wine, that it just happens, we just do it. It's much like getting up in the morning, the first thing you do is make a coffee. So you can actually break that pattern with the first thing you do being drinking 500 mils of water and then doing some stretching. And you'll be surprised how we can just swap out a disempowering habit with an empowering one, and how that accumulates to progress and success over time. So I really hope that has helped wrap up, I hope I've caught anybody who's in the challenge and is starting to feel a little less motivated, or feel like, the meal prep or planning is getting too much or too much hard work. So let's just wrap that up with a few key takeaways of, you're here as a choice. It's not a chore. Let's refer back to your why. What was that pain point that made you step into this challenge to begin with? And let's just look at that little bit of discomfort now, that little bit of extra preparation now for the extra comfort you're going to feel later. Let's reflect on the discomfort that actually brought you into the situation you're in and identify why we don't want that discomfort again. The tools, the tasks, everything that we're doing now is going to be leading us towards not having to feel that discomfort again, ever again, or less often. So some things that we can do to help just revert that around and stay in this really strong motivational mindset is come from a place of gratitude. So practicing with a gratitude journal. If you would like that resource, please reach out and I'll send it to you. But also breaking the pattern of poorer habits for more empowering ones. And, going easy on yourself that these are not going to kick in overnight. Just like that it takes time to build a habit, it also takes time to break one. So I hope that has been a helpful live. If you did watch that on replay, please let me know. If you have any key takeaways, also please pop them in the chat below. I look forward to seeing you next week.